Government sources in Washington say that President Kennedy is dead. He was shot at approximately 12:35 this afternoon in Dallas, Texas. The gentleman on my left and on your right is Bert Shipp, who is in charge of the photographers in our newsroom. And Bert, you have some film. Just a minute. Bobby, is the film ready to roll yet? Hello. No, they're queuing up the film now that Bert took at Parkland Hospital, as I understand it.
Jay, it's going to start out of some brief scenes at the Market Hall, or at Trade Mart, where the president was due to arrive. It's about probably a mile from the scene of the downtown shooting. And, of course, we had no word at Market Hall as to what went on downtown.
Roll the film.
And it was a complete mystery. The police didn't even know. But we knew, as you'll see about halfway through the film, the police went on past the Market Hall area, or Trade Mart rather, and on it to Parkland Hospital.
Bob, whenever you're ready, go ahead and roll. Let's see what we got. Excuse me. No.
Oh, this is a shot. There we go. Here's Market. There's Market Hall. Trade Mart is right across the street from there. They had a big welcome sign for the president there at the corner of Industrial and Stemmons. It says, "Welcome, Jackie." And
now, this was the place where the president was supposed to make his speech.
Here's some a gentleman carrying signs. I guess you'd call them gentlemen. They signs. I guess you'd call them gentlemen. They had these signs. They wasn't causing any trouble. They were run off moments after this, told that there was private property and they couldn't be around there. And they wouldn't talk to us other than they said their signs spoke for themselves. There's some of the crowd, 450 extra policemen called on duty. Everybody waited anxiously and waited and waited and waited. There's the policeman ushering a fellow by the name of Joyner from Grand Prairie back across the street. The boys had their mouths taped up so they wouldn't be able to answer any questions. Now there goes the president on up the hill there. He's been, this is after we found out there was something wrong. And
speeding past.
Yeah, and here's the disappointed crowd left there at the Trade Mart. I went up on the roadway there to ask some policemen. Here we go to the hospital. There's homicide detectives in front of us. There's Parkland Hospital. There's the entrance. Police cars all over the place. There is Congressman Wright. He's teary-eyed, as you could imagine. And there's the presidential limousine. The Secret Service men shaking it over. There's
Wright again.
Wright and Yarborough. There's the Secret Service man is taking a type of a mattress or something out of the back of the car there. And there's Chief Curry. He just couldn't believe it. He had put everything he had into this visit and gave the men all types of instruction. There's inside of a car. I don't know whether that must have been Conley's car. There's some more shots of everybody waiting expectantly. At this time, no one knew anything. And there goes Ms. Lincoln, the president's press secretary, inside. And there's Yarborough again, Senator Yarborough, and he says the sight was too gruesome to describe. And there's a final parting shot from Parkland.
This Secret Service Lieutenant Eric Kaminsky has said the assassin's weapon appears to have been a high-powered Army or Japanese rifle of .25 caliber. The entire building where the sniper was located was evacuated. If we could get a picture of our map here and show somewhere of the building, it's a Texas school book depository, which means exactly what it says.
This is the car where the president was. This is what we call our triple underpass in Dallas. This is the grassy area and it was originally thought that the shots came from him here, and now it's believed that the shots came from this building here. We have a film now, and by the way, we have one of the men, someone, and I should say someone, has been arrested in one of the downtown theaters. They don't know if it was the man who shot the policeman or the person who actually shot President Kennedy and Governor Connally. It's in our process. It's being processed now. We'll have that just as soon as possible. Right now, We have an interview with an investigating officer, so let's roll that film, please.
Oh, no. You saw a man up there? That's where the guy was.
Here, open my mic. This is the, of course you realize that the film is unedited, and this is one of the parts of the film without the sound on it. This film was made in one of the investigators' offices here in Dallas, and we will have the interview in just a few moments. I'd like to repeat that we will have some videotape later in the day of the president's arrival at Love Field in Dallas at approximately 11:35 this morning, and 1 hour later the president was shot.
This is film in Sheriff Bill Decker's office.
Sheriff of Dallas County. The city of Dallas, well, I know...
Down.
Dave Sawyer, your position. Inspector, please. What is the story here now? This is apparently the building that the assassin shot from.
This is the building that the witnesses said they had seen a man up there, and some with a rifle. And also we found some empty rifle shells on the 5th floor.
So he would have been directly above us.
Directly above us. Indications were that he had been there for some time.
Well, has the police department taken any precautions against such an incident?
We thought we had taken all of the precautions that were necessary. But this particular building was not covered as were a lot of other buildings.
Well, as it stands now, there is a suspect. There were witnesses.
There are witnesses who saw the man.
What did they see as far as the president and the governor?
Well, several of the witnesses saw him slump over.
The president?
Yes.
And the governor?
And the governor, yes.
You also understand the Secret Service man was in?
This I do not know. I haven't received that information.
How many policemen are there in the city of Dallas?
We have approximately 1,300.
I would assume they're all out right now.
Yes, bulletin here. Police have arrested a white man in the Riverside section of Fort Worth in connection with the shooting of a Dallas policeman. The man has denied any connection with the assassination of President Kennedy. The Dallas reception was just tremendous at Love Field. The crowds roaring and cheering and straining forward to get a good look at the president. And then he and his wife broke away and came up smiling to the fences, walked all along that fence. And now let's see it. I think the videotape is ready of the president's arrival here this morning. There he is.
He's waving at a lot of people, smiling, Secret Service men all around. Boy, this is something. They break right away and come right up to the fence. And the people who waited all morning in this fence are rewarded with a glimpse, and a lot of them with a close look and a handshake with the President of the United States and his wife. Day. Somebody perched up on somebody's shoulders. Secret Service right along with the President, of course. The President passes right in front of a Dallas police officer, right in front of our cameras now. Somebody patted his shoulder. Mrs. Kennedy coming along behind him, grinning all the while. The President saying, "Thank you very much. If I may be permitted to read a presidential lip movement." This is a bonus for the people who have waited out here. Now, Mrs. Kennedy, right along behind him. The President still moving over towards some phone booths that were set up for the press. The people surging up toward that fence. But there is a fence, and the President waves goodbye, waits for his wife, and back they go to the car. Governor Conley standing in the car beaming.
Set show quite distinctly the Secret Service coverage of the President. There are 3 or 4 Secret Service men right behind the President and Mrs. Kennedy. as Mrs. Kennedy now gets into the car, and the president does. The other man in the car is the governor of Texas, and the Secret Service men are now getting in the driver and the front seat. The other members of the detail have apparently left to go into the follow-up car, which is the car which will be the car immediately behind the president's car in the motorcade. Mrs. Kennedy and the president, as you can see, are leaving. The governor of Texas is in the jump seat right directly in front of the president, and the wife of the governor of Texas is sitting in front of Mrs. Kennedy. The Secret Service are following the car out. They're standing on the running board of the follow-up car, and as is their custom, until the president's car picks up speed, usually about 20 miles an hour, run alongside of the car. When the car is moving, the Secret Service drop back, jump into the follow-up car, and stay right with him. The driver of the follow-up car keeps his car about no more than 10 feet at the maximum, and usually about 6 feet behind the presidential car at all times, regardless of the speed of the president's car and the speed of the motorcade. The other cars that you see there, I would imagine, are cars for dignitaries and cars for the press corps that follows with the president. One of the cars in the motorcade is a pool car of representatives of the combined news media. There again you can see the Secret Service in the follow-up car standing on the running board. That car, by the way, has very heavy armaments in it. It has submachine guns. It has the necessary... And now, as you see, the president's car is leaving. I return you now to Dallas.
A gentleman just walked in our studio that I am meeting for the first time, as well as you. This is WFAA-TV in Dallas, Texas. May I have your name, please, sir?
My name is Abraham Zapruder.
Mr. Zapruder?
Zapruder, yes, sir.
Zapruder. And would you tell us your story, please, sir?
I got out in, about a half hour earlier and getting a good spot to shoot some pictures. And I found a spot, one of these concrete blocks that I have down near that park near the underpass. And I got on top there. There was another girl from my office. She was right behind me. And as I was shooting, as the president was coming down from Houston Street making his turn, it was about halfway down there, I heard a shot. And he slumped to the side like this. Then I heard another shot or two. I couldn't say what it was, one or two. And I saw his head practically open up, all blood and everything. And I kept on shooting. That's about all. I'm just sick again.
I think that pretty well expresses the entire feelings of the whole world. You have the film in your camera. We'll try
yes, I brought it on the studio now.
We'll try to get that processed and have it as soon as possible. Right now, we have videotape. A picture of the building of where the bullet came from. Let's take the picture first, then the videotape. This is videotape now. This is a picture of the hearse leaving Parkland Hospital with President Kennedy's body. As I understand it, the body is being taken to one of the funeral homes here in Dallas. All right, Bob, that pretty well covers it, I think. This is the same hospital that President Kennedy visited in his visit here in 1961. It is not? Excuse me. This is the outside shot of the hospital and the people who are gathered there, all stunned in the realization that President Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, Texas today. Now we have a picture of the building. There's a picture of the building that one of the boys took, showing possibly one of the windows that was used. The top right hand. Okay, which one was it? Let's see if we can figure it out. There it is. There is a picture of the window where the gun was allegedly fired from that killed President Kennedy
Been in the line of fire
today. Excuse me, go ahead, sir.
I must have been the line of fire where I see now the picture where I was. I was right on that concrete block, as I said. And as I explained before, as a sickening scene. At first I thought perhaps it sounded like somebody make a joke. You hear a shot and somebody grabs their stomach.
I was about 100 yards away from one of our other, the boy and I walked over to see President Kennedy. We were about 100 yards away, and it sounded like there were 3 shots. And after the first couple, I said, my God, they shot the president. And then we walked over and looked down and could see the people on the grass there, and I imagine you were one of the people that we saw there underneath the viaduct. This happened this afternoon about, what time, 12:35. The president died
Something like it.
The president died at 1 o'clock. They sounded like, at first they sounded like firecrackers, and somebody next to us said they're shooting off fireworks, but then we realized, it didn't take but a minute to realize that they were loud reports, and for those of you who are familiar with hearing a rifle shot, it was a recognizable sound. The videotape that we have, Bobby, what do you have now? Okay, that completes the videotape coverage for the moment. We will have film back in about 15 minutes of the arrest of a person who could be the person who shot the policeman or the Secret Service man or Conley or President Kennedy, and we'll have that in just a moment. Now let's go back to ABC in New York.
Jim, and now back to Dallas for a late report from there.
Jay Watson and Bob Walker at WFAA-TV in Dallas. We have some late film. Also, we understand that Vice President Lyndon Johnson will be sworn in Dallas. Our video cruiser is on the way. We'll try to have that tape for you later, or at least we will have film coverage of that as soon as possible. Let's roll the film now, Bob, and see what it has.
All right, this is some of the motorcade as it ended its drive just minutes before it rounded the turn at which the president was shot and killed. Some of the people on the streets.
And I, just about a minute, I'd say 45 seconds before the president was shot, I was standing right in here and gave the president the applaud. He turned the corner.
There's the president and Mrs. Kennedy just minutes before he was shot.
Mr. Haggerty explained, too, that that dome was not on, as you can see there. There
now we're getting down.
Right here is where it took place. Just as you saw...
Now, here is the spot where the president was killed. This is the building which the shot was fired. In a minute, you'll see a policeman or someone crawling in the... Where's the window where the shot was fired from? Now you see policemen with guns, suspecting perhaps the man was still in the building.
Bobby, come back to the map.
Bits of chicken, food particles were found in the building, indicating he had been there for some time. The weapon has been found. I do not have the exact make of it. They found it on the 6th floor of this building. I've just learned that. A German Mauser, I believe, is what it was.
That's out in front of the Depository, Texas School.
Right, this is just minutes after the president was shot.
If you remember the picture there where the president turned left and the long shot, it was there that it happened.
Dallas County Sheriff Bill Decker. Policemen with the guns, trained. Have no idea at all what who these people may be. Evidently, they're clearing the area, is all I can say. President John F. Kennedy has now been dead an hour and 49 minutes.
This is a scene where President Kennedy was shot this afternoon, Dallas, Texas, picking up one of the
just suspects by the droves, of course, have been pulled off the streets.
Now, the picture you see now is tracing the route of President Kennedy up 11th Avenue on Turtle Creek. Now we're coming into the main part of Dallas. There's City Hall. He turns left. right on Houston Street. And right there is where the president was shot. The films that you have
The
just
trade
seen.
marked up the top of the picture is where he was set to give an address at 1 o'clock, incidentally, the minute he expired.
Okay, Bob, I see that Ron Ryland is. Let him scoot in here and tell us. Let's look at the film again, Ron, and you narrate it this time because you were there. This is the film we showed just a few minutes ago. Go ahead.
Well, this is just prior to the parade. Everyone was sitting around having a good time. I do believe it was a very fervent welcome for President Kennedy. Everybody seemed to be enjoying it.
And the president made a statement earlier how pleased that he was with the turnout in his reception in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yeah, I think that everybody was just real happy. As the motorcade came down the street, the crowd oftentimes broke loose and dashed out, shook hands with him.
This is Main Street.
Everybody just seemed to be enjoying it and having a good summertime outing.
Right. Now, in just a few moments, you'll see almost the exact spot where the president was shot. Right in this area on down the road.
Yes, sir. This is a bookstore, a Texas bookstore, right where these officers are, is where the man was supposed to have been on the 6th floor. This is where they found the rifle.
Right.
It was on the 6th floor behind a bunch of boxes stacked in behind them. The crowd gathered quickly. The officers descended on the area and tried to keep people back, but of course everybody swarmed in, and I guess the roof just sort of fell in on Dallas at this moment.
It has.
We went in with the Secret Service officers. We covered every inch of the building from the roof to the basement, and finally they did discover this gun on the 6th floor. There was no sign of the man. About 6 or 7 witnesses said that they had seen this man, but of course at a time like this everybody sees everybody, and it's hard to tell which is true and which is not. The Secret Service agents, the FBI officers, all guarded the doors, would not allow anyone in the building or out. Therefore, I do believe that you'll find that these are exclusive films.
I think
as far as the building itself, this is Sheriff Bill Decker, Dallas County Sheriff. These are officers, and as you notice, they're all armed with riot guns, shotguns, machine guns, everything possible in an attempt to apprehend this man. I do believe that he'll never be taken alive.
You do believe that?
Well, I don't think they'll allow him. I'm afraid this man at this point is so disrupted he may just do away with himself, if anything else.
That's the conversation we've had here.
The crowd swarmed in and did not necessarily hamper operations or anything like that, but...
More suspects here, I guess, huh?
They were all taken over to Bill Decker's office where they were interrogated. Anyone who had said that they had seen anything at all, whether it was actually with the shooting or leading up to it, people hanging out of windows, the sheriff took him over and started to interrogate them.
One of our newsmen, Mal Crotch, said that he saw the rifle come out the window. That's it from Dallas, Texas for the moment. We will have more film, and we will have film of Vice President Lyndon Johnson being sworn in later in the day. Now let's go back to New York.
Dallas is standing by for us. We take you now to Dallas.
This is Dallas, Texas. The gentleman here again is Ron Ryland, one of our cameramen that we have some exclusive film to show you once again. Let's roll the film and we'll narrate it as we go. Ron, these are the police cars pulling into the area.
Right. Once the report went out that this man was holed up in Oak Cliff, we all went out in the motorcade. This is the first building that he was reported in. It's an old junk shop of one kind or another. This is the jacket that the man was wearing. He discarded it as he ran down the street. An eyewitness here said that he had seen the man go into the building, and this is the rear of it. The officers converged on it once again.
Let's make a point here now. This is the film. It is a suspect.
This is a suspect, yes. They saw this man running in and out that answered the description of the original man. No, this is an eyewitness, Jay. The man that is being interrogated here said he saw the man run down the street. Of course, everywhere we went, the crowds converged and hampered operations quite a bit. This is the scene where the police officer was shot. The car that you see in the background there belonged to the police officer, and this woman said that she had seen a man answering the description of the man that was later captured, run up, stop the officer, and then shoot him. About that time, another report came in that there was a man had walked into the Texas Theater further down the block with a shotgun over his arm. Of course, everybody broke and ran down into the area at the time. This gun that you see in the background here in this officer's hand is the one that allegedly was used to shoot the police officer. This is the officer's billfold that was found lying on the ground right alongside of the car. The crime investigators here are fingerprinting the car in hopes that they could possibly lift a print to use. Now we're inside of the Texas Theater. Of course, everything is black. The movie is going on. Police suddenly jumped this man and started to drag him out of the theater, hustled him out to the car as the crowd broke and started to maul the police officers and grab this man, trying to run with him. They shouted murder and just almost anything to try and get at this man. As you see here, the officers hustled him into the car and ran away just as fast as they could from this Texas Theater in hopes of protecting this man. And they have taken him off to an unknown spot. We don't know where they're holding him for the interrogation. Once again, these are exclusive films. We were the only photographers at the scene, Mr. Watson.
The name of the officer slain was J.D. Tipton. This information, Police Captain Pat Ganaway today said a suspect held in the assassination, the picture you just saw here, was an employee of the building where a rifle was found. Ganaway also said the suspect had visited Russia and was married to a Russian. This is not immediately confirmed. The suspect's citizenship is not known. Ganaway said the suspect was the same man who shot and killed a city policeman in the Oak Cliff section of the city. And if so, those are the pictures we just saw, correct?
We sure hope so.
All right. The city of Dallas is in shock. We will have...
The Dallas Sheriff's Department said the rifle had been found in a staircase on the 5th floor of a building near the scene of the assassination. It was a 7.65 Mauser. The German-made Army rifle had a telescopic sight with one shell left in the chamber. 3 spent shells were found nearby.
Jay Watson along with Bert Shipp of WFAA TV in Dallas. We would like to be able at this time to bring you up to date on Governor Connolly's condition at the hospital, but it's off. We have not, as of now, been able to get any word from there. Our crew is standing by. We have our remote cruiser there, and as soon as anything happens, that will be on the air as soon as some word comes out exactly the condition of Governor Connolly. We have a piece of film we would like to show you now. Bert Shipp is our chief photographer and assistant news director of WFAA television. This is... well, roll the film, Bert, and if you would narrate it, please, so they can move up there a little bit.
All right, Jay, this is that rifle that was shown minutes ago on the network. They dusted it for fingerprints from the, while it was still up in the building. And you'll see the detectives gathering and gathering their evidence. Tom Allier, one of our reporters and photographers, shot this film. He has just now managed to get out of the building because of the close security around it. You'll see stacks and stacks of books at this
get it up
this
there.
Big
get it up there.
many-story building, and they actually found some chicken bones in there. We'll see a picture of that in a minute. Now the film starts getting a little bad. Looks like Tom lost his loop. But this is the inside of the building where the sniper was. There's the detectives. They get it all downstairs now, trying to regroup after being stunned by this. There's one of the lights. The policeman that had some hard times. They're combing the building thoroughly. Dusting everything. Like I say, this is the first time we've even seen the film. The fella had a soft drink while he waited for the president to drive by.
No telling how long he was there, huh, Bert?
No, there isn't. He had lunch there. They know that. Chicken bones, soft drink bottle. And that's about it, Jay. I'm sorry I don't know any more about it, but like I say, our man's on his way in. We had about 8 or 10 photographers out around the city, and these boys.
I understand we have some more coming up here.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is...
That shot from inside the building.
Yeah.
This film was thrown out one of the windows. The building is closed up. No one can come in or leave the building, and this was tossed out the window and developed in the last 10 or 15 minutes here and on the air. Also standing by, coming in the front door now here, we'll be on the air in just a moment, are some interviews with the people in Dallas and their reaction to this tragic thing that happened just a few minutes ago, or just a very short time ago. The president seemed in a wonderful mood. His speech this morning, that was at 9 o'clock in Fort Worth, he was given the Texas hat, and you know which. All right, now this is the on-the-scene location film that we would like to roll for you. Once again, these are the shots taken by our photographers up and down the street. You can see the wonderful mood everyone was in. This is looking down Main Street in Dallas, Texas. The flags draped. The young people were out of school to see the President of the United States. The youngsters of all ages. There comes the motorcade preceding the President. The car in the middle there is also filled with police officers. There's the President of the United States. Now, in just a moment, we'll have the exact, this is going under the, there is the exact place where the gunman was shot. This is a picture of the building where it's believed that the gunman was, the officer crawling in. A few minutes ago, we saw the films of the inside of the building. It's believed that he had been there, could have been there 2 or 3 days. There was remains of where he'd been eating and living for a few days. The outside of the book depository. Now, immediately after these films were shot, the President was rushed to the hospital. He was supposed to go to the trademark and make an address at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. In his speech, he had planned to speak out in Dallas against purveyors of gloom. The text prepared for the luncheon called on Americans to pay less attention to those who, as the text stated, expressed opposition without alternatives, find fault but never favor, seek influence without accepting responsibility. He spent the night last night in Fort Worth. It was raining. He arrived there, I believe, Bob, about 11:45.
Yes, he was a bit late.
And the reaction in the crowd was wonderful. He had a beautiful turnout. The same way this morning when he arrived at Love Field. The turnout was, as he expressed to newsmen, he was more than pleased with the turnout. And also up and down Main Street today in the films you have just seen, they were beautiful films. Beautiful reaction from the city of Fort Worth and the city of Dallas until 12:35 today. We have some videotape now that we'd like to roll for you that Bob and I will narrate. We are not exactly sure what it is. It just arrived. It's threaded up on the machine. So let's roll the tape and see what we have.
Okay, stand by.
This is Ed Hogan of WFAA-TV. We are at Parkland Hospital in Dallas, Texas, with the mobile cruiser of WFAA-TV. The picture on your screen now, the flag of Parkland Hospital at half-mast. The ambulances possibly bringing in injured here at their usual day's work at Parkland Hospital. Panning now around, you can see the grounds of the hospital. A moment ago, 30 or 40 gentlemen, probably of the press, boarded a bus just to the left of right where the camera is following right now, and boarded this special chartered bus. We imagine they are the press riders who were here for the parade and luncheon and all of the festivities that have suddenly turned into this terrible turmoil upon the death of our President, Kennedy. The people standing here, lining the walks and the driveways of Parkland Hospital, are stunned, just as all of us are, beyond belief. That it's unbelievable that the President of the United States is dead.
Here's a shot of the outside of the hospital, and in just a few moments we will have some interviews of the people of Dallas. This word regarding Governor Connally: the governor's office said doctors have opened John Connally's chest and found several broken ribs and a bruised lung. They said the lung was collapsed by the bullet but had been reinflated. Doctors report no serious artery damage to the governor's heart. He'll be in the operating room till about 4:30 p.m. at Central Standard Time, and then will undergo surgery for his leg wound. Connally's pulse and blood pressure reported all right. at 2:30 p.m. Now, we will have a further report in just a few minutes as soon as it is made from the hospital. The Governor Connolly is the first I have heard that he I knew that he was shot in the stomach, but I did not know that he had a wound in the leg. I know I was standing about 100 yards from where it happened, facing the other way. I distinctly remember 3 blasts of the gun, but there might have been 2 blasts at one time, so you could only hear 3. But I know there were 3 reports.